Welcome back to Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth. Last time we defeated the boss of the group date cafe, and also, finally, Theodore got a bone thrown to him for once. This time though, we're going to be completing another of Elizabeth's requests, and that is to go on an FOE hunt. But this time, we're not going to be taking on just one FOE. I'm going to try and fight all of the FOEs in the group date cafe. So, we'll see about that. But I guess to start off with, we have this. What is marriage? A miserable little pile of... I don't know.
Oh.
Oh, I think I remember this one. Yeah, that Guardian was a bit weird. But in a good way. The way he was talking about it, he probably thought of it in this sense. But...
Now that I think about it.
Well, technically speaking, the others interfered before it could happen, so not really, no. However, Gary Stu is still considers himself married to everyone that he has a social link with. Well, everyone female, that is. Because S supports. Well, that's interesting too. Actually, preparations are not entirely done.
I'll be counting on you.
You were pretty effective in that last fight. So, yeah, a bit of a conversation with Zen there. I will just say, you might want to remember this conversation for later. But that's all I'll say for now. This one, I might leave until I actually start the next dungeon, which I'm not looking forward to at all. Oh boy, that's going to be bad. But anyway, before that, I just realized that we've hit level 27, and that means we can actually fuse Turdak. Oh, before that... Yeah, Marie said she'd finished a new poem. Let's check it out.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Dear teacher, if you were my teacher, I'd want you to teach me. The pounding of my heart, the distance formula to you. How many seconds till I fall for you? Please, please, teach me. Where could it be? The remote to make you notice me. Whose fault is it? It's like I'm not myself anymore. Why is it? Looking at sunsets makes me cry. But what I really want to learn is the one and only T-R-U-T-H. Please, please, teach me. Yes, sir!
Okay, then. The ending kind of ruined that a little bit, but oh well. I forgot about that.
Did you read it? You read it! Why? You're making no sense at all! I told you not to read them! That's the one and only truth! Stupid, I hate you, worst teacher! Go away! Why is it on the ground again? Makes no sense.
Yes, I wonder why it's on the ground again. Surely Margaret had nothing to do with that at all.
In any case, what would you like to do?
Actually, hang on a second. I'm actually going to go get my art book and see what that one was like in Japanese, because I have a feeling some of that was in English in the Japanese version. Okay, as I expected, some of it is in fact in gratuitous English. The entire last part, please, please teach me, and yes sir, that's all English. And also what's interesting is the T-R-U-T-H, I thought that was a case of just spelling out words hiragana by hiragana that's often done in like stereotypical QT speech in Japanese. No, it's actually Shinjitsu, the Japanese word for truth, written in English in the Japanese version. Huh. Also, I noticed that among the list of poems in the art book, Tea Time Fantasy is there, but it's listed as a later poem, so we must not get that until a bit later on. I'm really hoping that I didn't accidentally miss that by not immediately going into the Velvet Room after turning in that quest. I really hope so, because I know Tea Time Fantasy is an actual one of her poems. But anyway, the real reason I wanted to go in here was because we can now fuse Turdak, as you can see there. I can get Mithra as well. Turdak is actually pretty good. Setanta Nozuchi... Okay, on the one hand, I'm kind of okay giving up Setanta for Turdak. Except I can't pass down Power Charge, dang it. I also don't really want to get rid of Fortuna the moment that I've fused her. Could I do the same thing I did before and summon a low-level Moon Persona? Might not be a bad idea. A lot of these fusion combos I don't particularly want to go for. And why didn't I say this last time? It's Waffle! Waffle is back! For those who don't know, in Persona 3 FES The Answer, when Aigis calls out that Persona's name, it sounds almost exactly like she's saying Waffle. But anyway. Oh, we're at 23% of the compendium already. Once we hit 25%, we'll actually be getting something. Okay, I'm gonna try this. This might not work, but we'll see. Though, before I fuse Setanta, I should probably register you. Okay, Andras will work. That's good. Because I don't really want to get rid of Nozuchi. Now I'm at least moderately more okay with fusing away Fortuna. Even though Fortuna's actually not bad, except she seems to be more of a Navigator persona, and I already have a few Navigator personas on me. So, yeah, how about sadly I can't pass down Power Charge, but I can pass down quite a lot of good skills, actually. You do learn Double Link naturally in only one level, so it's not that vital that I pass that down, but I guess I can go for Bolt Link, Lethargy Circle, and Swift Strike, I guess. So now that we have Turdak, I actually want to show something involving this persona. Something that some of you might have actually guessed already. Firstly, let me just check how I can make Mithra. Not with Turdak. Yeah, no, don't want to go for that. Is there anyone I can sacrifice? Not exactly either. I'm not really using Neko Shogun for much, though. So if we go to Street Pass Books, and try and do Edit Own Book, and attach Turdak to it. So, this is to prevent other players from being able to summon this persona without completing the associated side quest. Side quest and DLC personas cannot be set as your Street Pass persona, so bear that in mind. It makes sense though, because otherwise people could just cheat the side quest requirements by getting lucky with street passing people. So with that done, I guess... Did I sell all my stuff in the workshop? No, but I do have some...
Oh.
I do have some equipment that I got from that boss, the Torn Bible. For these items, it seems like he's getting inspired by them rather than actually using them. So that unlocks the Focus Earring, which would be an accessory, which lets anyone mind charge, but it's ridiculously expensive, so I usually don't end up getting that until later, and Power Charge is much more useful anyway. And often by the time that you actually you actually are able to afford those, let's just say we'll have easier access to getting Power Charge and Mind Charge on the people that we want to have those skills on. This is actually not the sword from The Hobbit, as much as it may seem like it. I like keeping with the Lime Howitzer for now. And I kind of like the Cobra Boots as well. Okay, so let's arrange my party for these fights. The first FOE that we'll be going after is actually weak to both fire and ice, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, I am remembering correctly. So, in fact, it's actually pretty pathetic. But let's see who we use for this. How about, if it's weak to fire, Yukiko? I'll just remove everyone from the party for the moment. I think I'll be focusing on some people who are lower levels. So Koromaru, who also has ice attacks. I haven't actually used Aigis in a little bit, and I suppose we can use everyone who's lower level here, so... Yukari, Yukiko, Koromaru, Aigis, yeah, that seems good for the time being. Also, something on support that was pointed out to me in comments, having dual navigators is actually kind of a bad thing as well, because it means that the experience in battle is actually shared between 2 navigators instead of 1, so you'll get less experience overall. And on hard mode, when you get less experience in the first place, that might be a bad thing. So I think for now, I might actually continue with just using 1 navigator. Well, they're both exactly the same level, but you don't learn your next skill until level 44. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use Fuka for a little bit. Prayer is going to be very, very good later on. So, Persona setup. Oh, here's the body-soul reverse in action, by the way. As you can see, it can backfire pretty badly. That's not a lot of HP, but if you want a huge amount of SP, I guess it's something. So here's the equipment that I've gone with. And for Personas, I've got Turdak on Gary Stu, Aigis has you, because I really want Impure Reach plus Toxic Slice against some of these enemies. Koromaru is, well, I guess Fast Shinkuha is kind of nice, and Koromaru's strength isn't terrible. Yukiko's taking Titania because of her better luck, I guess. Yukari is, I don't know, I don't really have many good personas for you, and Fuka should probably go ahead and take Nozuchi instead of, Shisa. So with that, it's time to go and hunt some FOEs.
There's an FOE close by! Watch out!
So I'm here on the final floor because it has all 3 types of FOEs.
That is no ordinary wall. I suggest we investigate.
And also, someone pointed out in the comments that I missed this shortcut. So, completion, even though it doesn't actually count for actual completion. You! I'm picking you specifically to be the one that I take down of this type because you shot me so many times in my trek through this floor. Time for revenge.
An FOE! Escape immediately!
No. This is the Messenger of Love. As FOEs go, it's actually pathetic. It's weak to both fire and ice. It's only level 23, so we're actually out-leveling it already. And I've heard reports of many people defeating this on the first time they're in the first floor of this place. Anyway, actually, fighting them on this floor, it means we're stuck seeing this background when we could actually be seeing some of the other backgrounds for a change. I might change that, I don't know. But anyway, let's go, Lethargy Circle. It's also weak to Agility Bind, so yeah, this thing is not really the toughest of FOEs overall. So let's just go for some fire spam, and I guess I can set up, no, I think you can only have 1 circle active at a time. But I can try and Mucker Jam you. Mucker Jam's the only bind skill in this game that is actually named after a skill from both Persona 4, I think it was in, and also Shin Megami Tensei. Because a lot of those games do have a silence status. In this game, Magic Bind is the closest you've got to silence, but it basically is silence. And speaking of which, I had a tangent prepared for this part. I've been saving it until now. I wanted to talk about how I feel about status ailments in video games in general. Yeah, you being weak to fire is also bad, because the Persona 3 protagonist uses that, naturally. I get a free power charge, too. Oh, I should have been using Flame Link, not what I was using before. And not really sure what Yukari will do. She'll just use basic attacks. So, many people have remarked the status ailments are incredibly broken in this game. And that is quite true. But that's something that I have found about status ailments. In most video games, status ailments are either absurdly broken, or so bad they're just not worth using at all. It's very rare that they're in between. And I'm kind of wondering why that is. In some cases, status ailments are really debilitating. So they have to make it so that particularly strong enemies like bosses are immune to them. Or in this case, maybe enemies like FOEs. Enemies that don't want you trivializing. Like, for example, if you can make it so that the boss is silenced and can't use all of their most dangerous skills, obviously, the boss fight's going to be way easier than it's supposed to be. Okay, your power... why not? Let's show the true insanity that is power charged or gear mode attacks. What do you have that I could use with that? I could use Reseha, I suppose. Yeah, that might be, fun. Actually, I want to see if Shinkuha does more overall damage per turn, because that Flame Link is quite weak. But anyway, yeah, bosses can easily be trivialized with status ailments if they work on them. And of course, you don't want instant death to work on bosses, or, Final Fantasy VI's infamous Vanish plus Death combo, which is... It's actually just the Vanish status working as intended. That was less of a case of, That was kind of funny, because it wasn't so much, bad balance and more just a mechanic working the way it's intended. The developers just didn't realize
power at maximum capacity.
the way that could be abused. So I'm going on a tangent within a tangent here, but I just kind of wanted to mention this too because I find it kind of funny. So in that game, the whole gimmick behind the Vanish status is it makes you invisible and so that you can't be hit by physical attacks, but magic automatically hits you. The problem is, one, the magic automatically hits you thing also extends to instant death. So if you're in Vanish status, instant death always affects you. And it also bypasses immunities as well. They hard-coded all magic to always hit Vanish characters. So bosses that are immune to instant death are not immune to it if they're hit by Vanish. And because the game considers Vanish to be a positive status ailment, very few things are coded to be immune to it, so you could trivialize a lot of bosses in FF6 by using the Vanish plus Death combo on them. Or Vanish plus Doom in the censored versions. Which is funny, because Doom is usually a different skill in Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's why... Tangent within a tangent within a tangent. I found it a bit... I've tried to play some of the earlier Final Fantasies, but the naming scheme on the magic makes it a little hard to get into when we're used to the later games. Like how text limits means that, like, Thundaga is Lit 3 for Lightning 3, because they couldn't fit Thundaga. And again, there's the whole Death/Doom thing, because earlier games were censored and couldn't mention death. So they had to call it Doom, but Doom is usually the name of a different skill in Final Fantasy games.
Move until she's cooled off.
Cooling down.
I don't think we've seen the overheat mechanic yet, but Aegis takes a lot of damage from enemy attacks while she's overheated, so we'll need to be really, really careful. Fortunately, this thing should be dying this turn. As you can see, in fact, I think this thing actually took less time to fight than my preparations took for this part, which is kind of silly. Yeah, this thing is pathetic as far as FOEs go. But it's not the FOE that Elizabeth wanted us to hunt. Anyway, yeah, back to my original topic about status ailments. I think I'll continue that once I start fighting the second FOE. Firstly, though, didn't expect to be getting you out of that. We have Rakshasa, Jazz Hands. Yeah, that's a Critical Role reference. Rakshasa is a very important persona, because it learns Impure Reach, but its Impure Reach is its quote-unquote special skill. And very soon, I'll be able to stop calling that thing special skill and actually call it what its mechanic name actually is, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers on mechanics for now. Yeah, that thing's only worth 4,000 experience to us. But aha! For all the times that you shot me, I have finally claimed revenge. Should I go back and heal, or should I just straight up keep going and try and use it, I don't know, like a this on Koromaru? I mean, he has Flame Link. I suppose doesn't really need his SP at this point. I think it'll probably be fine. Anyway, I'll see you for the next FOE that I want to fight. Well, I haven't heard this music in a while. Anyway, I wanted to change the background for this one, so it's time to fight the second FOE here, the Angel of Love. Again, Angel actually means messenger, so this and the Messenger of Love kind of have the same name. I think this still gets to a preemptive, we'll see.
Oh,
It does,
FOE,
good.
Please run! Fight, run, fight, then run? What's the plan?
No, the plan is fight and not run. Anyway, I think I might actually go straight for... No, I might save Orb of Power until later. But I will set up Healing Breeze. This thing has the same amount of HP as the Messenger of Love, but instead of being weak to fire and ice, it's resistant to both of them. And it also is not weak to any status ailments. It's resistant to all the binds as well, but it is not resistant to poison. So in this case, I'm gonna just go straight for the Toxic Slice Impure Reach combo. Because, yeah, no reason to let these battles drag on that much. These ones in particular are not really all that strong as far as FOEs go, so I don't feel that bad by cheating them with poison. So I can go back to my tangent about, how about, I guess you can Shinkuha. Yukari and Yukiko are not really going to be doing much here, so they might as well just hang back and just wait until they need to heal. Yukari could just try and spam attack and see if we can get Magic Bind, though, with her Silence Bow. So I can go back to my tangent on status ailments. The problem with some games, particularly Final Fantasy, I felt that until recently Final Fantasy definitely had this problem, was they made so many enemies immune to status ailments that status was just bad in general, and was just almost never worth using.
Target lost.
So, kind of to compensate for that, a lot of video games then started making status ailments
There is
really
one
good,
enemy remaining.
and having it so that they did work.
Koromaru-san is low on energy.
Oh great, I'm gonna get people saying that every single turn now. He doesn't really need it though. But yeah, a lot of games would make it so that... Actually, let's try out Bolt Link and see how much that does. Doesn't resist electricity. I'll just continue to go for poison. Shinkuha, and then, yeah, you'll just keep attacking. Yeah, to encourage people to use status more, they'd make status ailments really good and have them actually work against a lot of dangerous enemies. The problem is, they had a tendency to make status too good, and that resulted in just a lot of bosses being rendered pathetic, as you might see here if I poison this thing and it
I
just,
have missed.
well, just kind of dies on its own, because... Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Probably should have brought Zen and Rayfuse because they can do the status. Or Promise Bracer. I was going to give someone the Promise Bracer, and then I realized it was on Naoto, who's not currently in the party.
What am I doing?
Actually, I can still access the other people's items even in the labyrinth, can't I? Or not? I'm not entirely sure at this point. I guess I'll find out after the battle's over. Anyway though, you certainly have a lot more HP, and I would really, really like that panic to be cured. I used up all my Patron gems. And Yukari no longer learns status curing skills. That's annoying. My main damage dealer and also my main user of poison has been panicked and I can't really cure them. Probably should have thought this through a little more. But I guess that gives him more time for this tangent. So yeah, you've probably witnessed firsthand in this game how status ailments tend to be incredibly overpowered and a lot of bosses aren't immune to them. It seems to be even worse in some of the actual Etrian Odyssey games, because the, oh, that's the downside of being panicked when you have a weapon that inflicts the status ailments, or in this case a bind. You can bind your own party. Not that Yukiko really cares about agility binds.
Can't dodge or run right now. Let's stay on the defensive.
But she's also panicked. In fact, it's a good thing that she's agility bound while she's panicked, because if she attacks us, she'll probably miss. But yeah, because agility binds won't really affect her healing, and that's really the main thing she's doing in this fight. But anyway, I can go back to trying to poison you. And Yukari can just try and bind it again. One of the actual Stratum bosses in... I was watching a speedrun of the second Etrian Odyssey game, and the second Labyrinth's boss actually has, as a conditional drop, defeat with instant death. I think that game has some skills that have a low chance of instant death that gets higher and higher if certain conditions are met, like... I forget exactly what it is. Like, you've got to set up either some buffs or the enemy has to be below a certain HP threshold, or they have to be inflicted with a certain debuff. But yeah, it's kind of like a conditional instant death thing. Let's go for Medea on you. Because Garisu definitely needs that right now. So yeah, status elements being overpowered here is pretty much par for the course because of the Etrian Odyssey mechanical crossover elements.
Summoning Persona. Target lost.
And then you have Persona 5 where... I forget if it's actually called Panic in that game.
I missed.
Oh, I did give Yukiko the Frozen Stone, but I guess it didn't activate there. Well, I guess we can go for double Medea. Either that or I use Renewal Ray. Yeah, Yukari's running a little low on SP. How about I do use Renewal Ray to take some of the pressure off? I could go for Swift Strike. Oh, my Agility Circle's gone. Might as well set that back up again, even though it didn't do anything last time. Korochan will just do that. I think you're actually going to have to Medea again. It's not really all that much SP. But yeah, I forget if it's actually called Panic in P5, but I know that using it on certain, I used the wrong skill entirely. I'm an idiot. Yeah, that thing really resists that. This thing has a lot of endurance as well, so we'll be doing a lot less damage than the other thing. It's kind of interesting how they make this thing far tougher than the previous FOE, despite them both having the exact same HP, just by modifying their other stats and changing their resistances. There's the poison. As far as attacks go, all this thing really has is Panic and Mow Down. And that ice attack. It can't really do that much. So, anyway, what I was saying, I wanted to actually set up Lethargy Circle. Wow, that's more expensive than Lethargy Circle? You know what, I don't think Lethargy Circle's really been doing much good for me so far. I think I'll stay with Swift Strike. And now Aigis can go ahead and use Reseha, I guess. Okay, you have Medea, I might as well switch to that, because Yukari's physical attacks actually do something unlike you. Yeah, Swift Strike's actually been pretty decent for me. But yeah, using that skill in Persona 5 on Memento's bosses, certain Memento's bosses, would cause them to just drop a ton of yen. And that's more an issue with them just not scaling the amount of yen that certain bosses drop when they're confused. I remember I actually didn't discover that trick on my first playthrough until the very last one, the one that turns into Mara, and that one happens to be one of the few Memento's bosses whose is immune to confuse slash panic slash whatever it's called in that game. So yeah, that resulted in me just trying for ages to use a Pulimpa on it, and it just never worked.
It dodged.
That was unfortunate. But then in my New Game Plus, I knew which bosses it worked on, and I was able to farm a ton of yen that way. So yeah, it's always a delicate balancing act with status ailments. You make them too good, and, well, bosses end up pathetic, but you make them too weak, and nobody ever uses them. I had a feeling that might happen. The Frozen Stone has not been doing very well for me so far.
Korochan is weak. Korochan's in pain.
But you can Medea, and you can probably just go straight for Reseha. It seems like if there's only one enemy, Reseha only hits once. So I probably should just keep spamming Toxic Slice, because it's pretty cheap. How about you Heal Stone yourself? We're getting close to the point where the Heal Stone stops being useful, but we're not quite there yet.
Come, Orpheus.
But one thing that I will say is, I feel like the RPG series that does the best job of balancing status is Pokemon. Now, Pokemon has actually modified its status ailments a lot over the years. Like, there were some gens, particularly Gen 5, where Sleep was pretty overpowered. And then there was Gen 4 when they buffed Hypnosis to 75% accuracy and then realized that was a horrible idea, and then in Platinum nerfed it back down to 65%. One of the few times they've actually changed the properties of a move mid-generation in Pokemon. Is that the only time they've changed the properties of a move mid-generation? Now that I think about it, it might be, actually. Yeah, I forget if there's any other moves that were like that, but I do know that they definitely, change the accuracy of Hypnosis mid-generation. So yeah, it has been very hit and miss, but I've always felt that, not so much in single player, where offensive play is usually a lot better than debuffs and status ailments, but in competitive multiplayer in Pokemon, Debuffs and status ailments and other support moves are all really useful, but sweepers, aka offensive Pokemon, are still just as useful. It helps that you have a large number of party slots, and there's a lot of Pokemon that have stat builds that are good for, like, are not so good for one thing. So they're good for using status ailments because they have low attacking stats but high defenses, for example. Like, you know, Blissey.
Noise in my thought routines.
Oh, that's interesting. I love the way they justify how the different status ailments work with Igus. But anyway, this thing's almost down. Not really much more to say here. In fact, this could do it. But yeah, I do feel like Pokemon strikes a good balance of having status ailments be useful while also having other types of moves useful at the same time. It's one of the only RPG series I know of where status and regular attacks are about equally useful. But I guess because there's just so much freedom of team composition in Pokemon and so many different characters with so many different roles. And again, you can always cover a non-offensive member of your team with other options, so it's not like you're giving up that much to have someone specialize in status. Anyway, I remember Genbu being quite a useful persona in this game, but mostly as a navigator persona. Mainly because of, I mean, this is kind of cool, but it has a lot of other navigator skills. Hailstorm is not quite Myriad Arrows. Definitely not Myriad Arrows. Love Shard. And also, I believe, since we accepted the request, there we go. That's the one Elizabeth needs us to defeat. But there's one more FOE that we have to hunt in this place. And it's the only one that's an actual threat, so I'll see you later for that. Okay, I might actually switch up my party somewhat for this next FOE, because this one is far stronger. It's also a lot more physically based than magically based. It also resists all elements, so physical attacks are the way to go against it. That means Yukari and Yukiko, it's not a good idea to bring both of them here. So, who should I... they're both roughly equal. Yukari has a better at physical weapons, so I might as well keep her. So I'll bring Chie for this. And I guess this compensates for Yukari not being in the boss fight of this floor. Chie means that I'll be able to make good use of my myriad of physical-based personas too. Genbu gives a lot of HP, but I'd rather have more skills at this point. Oh, I forgot how good Immunity Buffer was. This skill is ridiculous. It's actually, in my opinion, one of the more underrated, overpowered skills in this game. Especially once you have access to a skill card for this. Then it gets really crazy, but that's not until quite late in the game. Yeah, so this basically makes you immune to physical attacks, like, about, I think it's even more than 50%. It's really huge. It's kind of insane.
That's an FOE over there, right? We should be careful.
Yes, we should. The only upside to these things is they're very easy to get preemptive strikes on. Just like all the FOEs in this area.
Oh, an FOE! Please run!
If we fight, we should go for broke.
Yes, we should, because this thing, the Beast of Lust, is actually a threat, unlike the other FOEs on in this dungeon. It has a huge amount of strength, good endurance, and it resists all elements except for the physical ones. So, it's kind of dangerous. It can also use Bestial Roar. However, it's not resistant to Agility Bind, and I really want to get Agility Bind on this thing as soon as possible, so I might actually have Igus just spam basic attacks until Agility Bind lands. Chie, I guess, will take over as the main damage dealer, I suppose. Yeah, let's go for Shinkuha, and I'll probably have to do some power charges here too. I also want to poison this thing because it's not resistant to poison. Okay. I also wanted to have Koromaru from Maraku Kaja from Genbu, because we might actually need that here. Okay then. If I can actually get lucky and get Mucka Jam on you. It's not likely because you resist Magic Bind, but still. Okay, come on, Agility Bind. No. Come on, can I just get that? I'm actually not used to seeing Genbu's summoning portrait since I mainly use it as a navigator persona. Yeah, this thing has pretty solid endurance too, so we're not going to be doing a lot of damage to it. No Agility Binds. And that was our surprise round. I'm speaking in D&D terms, but yeah, I got hooked on Critical Role a couple of years ago and I haven't looked back since. Anyway, oh boy, this could be bad. The annoying thing about the Link skills is they're all elemental, so this thing will resist all of them. Swift Strike has generally been more effective than Shinkuho and Gary Stu at this point, so I might as well go for that. I really, really want to get Agility Bind on you. And Koro-chan will just... Yep, I'm calling him that. Hailstorm, I'll see how much Hailstorm does. If it doesn't do so well, I will avoid using that later. Let's go ahead and heal Cheer, because I have a feeling this Shinkuho is going to put her on fairly low health, and that'll mean that the boss might do a lot of damage. Well, it looks cool at least, but it only hits every enemy on the field once, so it's not going to be that useful here. Against single targets, multi-hitting skills are pretty effective. I'm on Agility Bind. Not yet. And here comes the Giant Fist. Yeah, this thing does a lot of damage.
What the?
Not getting lucky with my binds here. Right then. I lost my boost as well. Should I change tactics and try and just poison it early? I might try and poison it early. And, okay. By the way, that was with a defense buff. So, that would have hurt even more, and that also hit Aigis, one of our characters with the most endurance and with the best armor out of everyone here. So, well, actually not quite the best armor, because Gary Stu currently has the purple suit, which has a bit more defense than Aigis' current best armor. Probably should be doing something better with Koromaru's turn, maybe using the Heal Stone. Chie is not critically very much, and that worries me.
Persona, rise up!
Come on, poison. Yes, there we go. And here it comes again.
What the?
Yeah, this thing has a lot of HP, so poison does a ton of damage to it. I already fully, like, I've said everything that I wanted to say about status ailments in RPGs overall. I do feel like Pokemon does have the best balanced status ailments, at least now. Though while its status ailments are balanced, I do find there are a couple of moves that inflict ailments that are a little maybe on the overpowered side. Particularly Scald. Scald has been hotly debated on sites like Smogon because it's really hard to switch into it because anything that switches in risks getting burned. Even things that resist it. So, anyway. But I guess, there are a few things that came out in the comment sections on my video about where I talked about self-inserts and role-playing as well as, like, shipping and stuff that... I guess since this will be our last visit to the Dungeon of Shipping in a while, I can give some shipping-related tangents.
Sorry.
Thankfully, Gary Stu is boosted so he can just calm her.
Chie-chan is unconscious!
As you can see, this thing is much more of a threat than the other enemy, the other FOEs here. Probably should have had Aigis using... No, I prefer having Aigis attack more than use Safeguard. Okay, I have a plan here. Normally that'd be useless, but since I know Gary Stu is going first thanks to boost, that will still kick in. Yes, Yukari can just keep shooting it.
Hit it! Top!
Whoa!
That could be bad with Yukari getting magic
Yukari-chan
bound.
can only use physical moves. How is this fair?
Oh, now Agility Bind works. Good. That'll stop that gigantic fist from doing too much. But anyway, like, one thing I do find about shipping is that it's often extremely subjective, and that's part of why, I don't know, I don't really like getting into shipping discussions. It's also part of why I really only ship pairings that are either canon or kind of implied canon. One thing that a lot of people talk about is like, oh, this canon couple is said to be canon, but they don't have any chemistry at all. I find the term chemistry weird because it's incredibly subjective. I know a lot of people might not see it that way, but it's again, something that, like, every, you know, human being has a very different idea of what constitutes chemistry. To me, it is subjective, and you can't objectively say, oh, these two characters don't have chemistry together, because, again, what constitutes chemistry is different for different people.
Impossible to continue fighting.
And even though your
Retreating.
agility
Icus is
binds,
unconscious.
even though you're agility bound, you still got hit by that, but this thing is kind of dying quickly. That's the thing about poison in this game. The higher the enemy's HP, the more powerful poison is, which is also part of what makes it kind of overpowered in this one. I guess you can try and... No, you're faster, so yeah. Wait a minute. I wish you could use the leader skill at any point in your turn. I wish it didn't have to be... Well, I mean, technically speaking, the leader is the only one who can use leader skills, but I do wish that it could be any point in your turn, because, you know, it is the navigator doing it, but it's annoying when I have to take back everybody's turn, just, Chili Bine's already worn off, just because I want to use a different leader skill. Anyway, though...
Here I go.
Oh, I forgot to use Recalm.
Turn down.
I guess I can revive Icus later if I want to. And I will want to, because I wanted to get the experience in this fight. I want everyone to be as leveled up as possible. But yeah, regarding, like, again, shipping subjectiveness and that kind of thing... Oh, thankfully I didn't do too much. I saw someone in the comments say that they're a fan of opposites attract pairings, and there's nothing wrong with that, because again, it's all subjective, but I've always never been a fan of opposites attract. I always ship characters who are similar, or at the very least, who seem different at first, but turn out to be more similar than they think. There's a lot of pairings I like that are like that. Well, I guess off the top of my head, Kanji and Naoto's a lot like that. They seem like exact opposites at first, but it turns out they have a lot of similarities. But it's also part of the fact that just, like, the way my brain is wired, I find it almost impossible to get along with anyone that I don't have something in common with. But yeah, that's just how I am. Yeah, I don't want to get too personal, but, like, I'm the kind of person where if I don't have a common interest with someone, I can't socialize at all. So... that's probably what plays into it, but I also did see, this is again probably, the reliability of this is probably suspect, but I do remember seeing like an actual study that was conducted, and it did find that opposites attract didn't really work in real life. But it depends. I mean, there are some people who like having someone who compliments them, and who's able to kind of make up for their own personal flaws, so I guess that's where the appeal of opposites attract comes from. But it's more that I've just seen so many examples in fandoms of people shipping characters who are not only exact opposites, but it's not so much that, but it's people who treat characters who canonically despise each other. Like hated enemies who want to kill each other in canon. Treating that as it's perfect true love for some reason. I've just never understood that. It's just really weird. Like being a tsundere or the believer in sexual tension trope is one thing, but shipping characters who actually outright hate each other, I've never really understood the appeal of that.
Call me if you want a rematch.
I don't want to rematch you anytime soon. That was painful, even though I kind of abused poison. I sort of had to there. And now we get our third high-level persona, Pazuzu. You're even higher level in some of the games I've played. You don't seem to be that great, though. Mudaon, Koromaru, and Naoto will be learning skills like that later anyway.
Another one bites the dust. She's growing up, too.
Well, I mean, I guess this thing can probably be either male or female. Removes all binds. I really don't care what you learn, because I'm only concerned for your navigator skills. Such as that one. Lust Shard, that's a weird name for an item. And I specifically did not actually bring any Go-Ho M this visit, because I knew that the walk back out would be close. So, I'll see you back at the base.
Here I come.
Okay, so let's turn in that request, and also sell those FOE items to Theodore. Pink Choker sounds like the kind of accessory Yukari started off with in Persona 3.
Thank you.
That was called the Heart Choker, I believe. I still never really liked selling those, even though they were totally useless. Of course, there's always a way to cheat those. Kind of reminds me of the Loves Me Not minigame in Super Mario 64 DS. Okay, this group is just on the cusp of leveling up. I might actually go back into the labyrinth and just get them all to level 22. Because I do want to be as leveled as possible before I go to the third labyrinth. Because that's going to be extremely painful. First off, let's sell all these to Theodore. And they were worth quite a lot, too. Guardian dog suit sounds kind of useful. Wow, that's actually very, very good. It's got resistance to physical attacks as well as high defense. Yep, you better believe I'm going to buy that for you. Oh, we can also buy the yeah, it's like there's an equivalent for everyone. The heavy armor, which is also resistant to physical attacks and gives high defense. There is an equivalent for the girls, though. They'll actually get something even better later, I believe. You have access to this. May as well get that for turns where you don't have anything better to do. Lucky Cat's Paw. I find he doesn't really have that much use for the luck stat. That, on the other hand, can be pretty useful. In fact, I usually keep this on Yukiko for a while, because it's not like her basic attack means that much. And this, speaking of which, I like giving this to Naoto, though having a bind attack on her basic attacks is also good. Yeah, I might actually leave the ray gun on her for now.